Welcome back to Henry's Garage. In this episode we work on the wiper motor for the green TR7. Hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. Okay, so I thought I would take a look at the wiper motor next. Connectors are here. Needs lots of switches and stuff. Now I don't actually have when I bought this car. It didn't have the switches for the steering wheel. So I took a risk and I went out and bought some switches for a 1984 Mini because they looked the same. And in terms of how they fit onto the steering column, it's a bit loose, but I think I can put padding in there to sort that out, so that should be good. My bigger issue is that we have female connectors on both, on here and on the wiring loom, and so I can't actually connect it up. And because of where I got the wiring loom, blah 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 blah, it's hard to test it. So first of all, how confident am I that these wires are going to be right? Well, I've got here a wiring diagram for the TR7, and we have 5 colours on there, and they are specified here as per the connector that's here. As the per connector that's here. So if I can just, okay, I'm having to hold this to keep the angle, but we have black at the top, green brown, dark green, green red, blue green, and we have all of those on here as well. Okay, so hopefully they're the same wiring diagrams. So if we now take a look at this. There we go. So we take a look at this. This is our switch here, and we have. So when we're looking at it on the connector on the washer motor, on the wiper motor, we've got black, we've got blue, light green, green, red, light green, and brown, light green. So the green, I think, gets power the whole time. Okay, it comes through this fuse here, but I think it comes along there. So this is the ignition switch. So from position 1 we start to get power straight through to the green. So we've always got power on the green, and when I connect power to the green and then I test the blue light green circuit, I can see power coming through the blue light green circuit as well. So with the power comes along here, in and out and down into the switch. So this position here on the switch, I think, must be the equivalent of a quick wipe. You know, the there, that click. Yeah, so it's just that intermittent wipe that you can do. So I think that's what the blue light green is. Okay, and then so I think when you do that, you must swap the power from going through the green and that way to go in through the green, click it onto here, and it comes up that way instead, I think. Okay, And when we move to position 1, sorry, I've also tried connecting to either the brown light green or the red light green circuit, and again I get power to the other one if I do. So we've got power to the green, we flip it up, and then when we do that, right, so no, let's take a step back. Right, so yes, okay, so the green and black wire that comes out of this goes this way to the washer, so that's when we push it in, and you can see it connected up here as well, so that goes that way. One, two, three, yeah. Oh, I've got myself all confused now. That's right, yes, there's no earth that comes into here, good, okay. And so when we move to this must be speed 1 and speed 2. Now what I'm not sure about is, does that mean that it gets disconnected when you go forward 1 or not? And how does the power come through? So I'm not quite sure on that. So, but what I think is, if I change the connector on here, and create some sort of interface to go from this directly to the motor with power to, that's the problem, I don't know where I need to put power to. Let's go have a think. Right, I've attempted to set up a bit of a loom here. So I've got the green coming out and going to power, which is where I think it goes. I've got the black going to earth. I've got the brown, which represents brown and green, going along and into here. And that's not brown and green, that's black and green, so let's pull that out. Okay, I've got the red, which is from the red and green, going along and into here, red and green. And I've got the blue, again coming from blue and green. Just checking that now. Yeah, blue and green, red and green, okay. So the blue coming from blue and green along into this one here, which is the blue and green. And then I've got green going to power. So I just pulled out the brown, which in fact should be going to here, so I'll put it in there and then we'll try a few things. Okay, that's not right. I've connected that up like that, and then so that is not the way to connect it up. Okay, so I've taken this unit here and I've held it up against the car face on, so you know, with the other male piece pointing at it straight like that, as if they were, if one was a female then they would connect together. And when I do that, the colours match, so the green goes to green, the green and black goes to a green and black, the green and red goes to a green and red, the brown and green goes to a brown and green, etc. And those then match across to this. Okay, so I'm pretty confident about all of that. I've then looked at the connectivity. So just, well, here I'll show you. So looking for connectivity between the power and where it goes to. So this is position 1, Okay, and this one here is position 2. Okay, so blue and green is position 2, blue and red, green and red is position 1, and this one is for the water. Okay, and I can't get this little clip down to give me anything. But that must be what that one's for, I guess. So I'm confident that those wires go to the right place and all of that. But obviously I've got something wrong, and I just don't understand what, because when I try to connect it all up, so the green going into the green, I've done it like that because that's how it's on the car. Red goes in here. And if I put it in position 1, for example, and when I try that, okay, I'm getting sparks, so it's shorting. So, and if I just turn it off in the off position, and then with the brown in, then it will short even then. Oh. Okay, well that's turning. I mean, these are turning very gently. That's in the off position. Well, that isn't perfect. Okay, need to work this out. So let's take the brown out. Let's put it in position 1 and see what happens. And in position 2. Okay, well, I guess we know it works. Just a little bit worrying as to, so the brown must go through something somewhere. There must be some switch for it. Right, well, I'll have a look, see if I can work that out. Okay, so here we have the wind diagram for a Mini. Over on the left here, we have the 2-speed motor and the single-speed motor. And we have the switch here in the middle. So the green wires come, where was it there? Along here, up through this fuse, and these 2 white wires come back, and they are positions 1. They come back to here, position 2 rather, on the starter switch, the ignition switch. So we get power to it when we turn to position 2. Fabulous. We then have the red, light green, which comes along to the top, the bottom left. If you have, I mean, I've got my black at the top, if you remember my other diagram. We've got the brown and light green come in here, so everything comes to the same place, and we've got the green coming in here. So everything to the same place, and if we come up to the 2-speed version, the blue is in the same place as well. So everything is the same. So I think the difference must be the way this switch works for the brown, which I believe is that intermittent one, which is causing it to run. And I think it's that brown which actually I need to, if I just don't connect it, then I won't have an intermittent, and I think that's probably okay with me. Right, so this is the inside, the winding mechanism. This obviously goes around, causes this to go out and in because it's on the bar. That grease looks pretty horrible, so I think I probably want to clean it out a bit, but I don't particularly want to take this apart. I think I want to leave it. I then pulled these bits off. That's the last one. Those 3 bits and the 2 spindles. Now this spindle, the only way I could get it off was cutting this, so that this needs replacing, and I've got that ordered. This one needs a clean up, and the inside of them were both a bit like that. So I think we'll re-grease this, the thread. We'll clean and re-grease the thread. We're going to get a bit of a wire wheel to this to clean it up, and then we'll paint it silver, and I think we'll paint these outer bits silver as well. We're going to clean up in here, put it back together, paint it silver. We're not going to take this apart. I'm going to leave that be. I've had enough motors for just now. Okay, so I've taken a wire wheel to these bits, and then I've had 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of acrylic silver, so they look okay. They'll go on nicely next, well, once I've taken them apart again and done some work inside. Okay, so I have here a new winding mechanism, so that's good. Here's the original. So those need to go on, and this has come with some grease. Sent my dad a photo of this, and he reckons that this grease is probably okay for this, based on the photo. He said that kind of stuff is generally much thicker and harder. But then I got this, which again looks slightly different, and I've got CV grease as well, and this looks far too thick for it. This is certainly thicker than my multi-purpose, but my multi-purpose doesn't look all that different to this. So I'm gonna, because this is kind of is this even in what I'm looking at? Yeah. So because this is sort of seems to have got caught up in certain bits, I'm just going to apply a bit of multi-purpose rather than clearing it all out. I do trust John, so we'll go with that in terms of just applying a bit more in here to where I think it might need it. And then we'll put it back together, and we will put it on the car. So that's what we're going to do. I do wonder if the reason it was slow to get going was in fact that the grease is old and has got it all stuck, but You either trust someone or you don't, and I do trust him. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, this is all back together. The grease that came with this new winder was a lot thicker. And then I've ordered, well, I ordered what they have in terms of seals, but this is nothing like enough, I don't think, because that's all I get. So it doesn't, none of the bushings are available any longer. So I have this one, which you can see I had cut in getting off. So I've got an idea about how big that one goes, but there are meant to be a couple of other bits as well, which I don't have. So I think my plan is, for this is an old, this is from somewhere else on this car. I'm not sure where. I'm going to try cutting this down to fit over here nicely. So that will mean it's a bit wide currently. Yeah, it's not wide enough for me, so it's a bit too tight. So I'll clean out the inner side a bit, and I'll take a knife and try to cut this off, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, I'll tell you right now, this makes an awful mess, which I think you can't quite see. There we go. I can't turn this any better. So I used this, I flattened off this end just by holding it up against the grinding wheel here. And so to get it circular, just put a bolt through it with a couple of washers to hold it in place. I bolted it in. So that spins. Again, that's the finished product. So I don't know how much of this black stuff you can see, but it creates a nice little mess. So I'm figure I haven't squared it off like this one, but I assume it goes underneath the car and then, you know, comes up. So we're gonna put it on now and see what it looks like. And there we have it, back on. Now the seals that I got, I'm not sure how they're meant to go on because I can't find a diagram. So if anyone can tell me the correct order for those, that'd be brilliant. And also I appear not to have a nut, which I need to find for that side. So but that's on, good. Feels like a bit of progress, that does, given I know it works. I tested it works, etc., and it's all wired in now. I've started to take a look at the horns. This is what I took off the car. So, and I've tested them already, and none of them are working. So, this isn't actually a complete horn, so it's not surprising it's working. This is presumably a complete original or something close to it. And this is clearly just the top half of it. And my understanding, the way this works is with the current coming through, so current through there, earth here, it causes this to vibrate. That vibration causes the horn sound out of there. This one, I don't know how it's meant to work. These feel like air, but I'm not getting anything apart from these wires warming up. I don't get anything, so I'm not going to worry about that one. What I'm going to try doing is just probably, I think these are probably really quite cheap, even if I don't get TR7 horns. If I get, you know, things of the period, like from an MGB or something, I'm sure they fit the same and will work. So I'm just going to take this one apart and have a quick look at it. Right, the horns were too far gone, so I got a couple. These have 2 terminals rather than 1, so I was just checking how they work, and it is just power to one and earth to the other. That seems to get them going, so I'm sure it works from the horn with the switch and all of that. So we're going to put those on next. Actually, we're not going to put the horns in, and the reason being I can't find the wires for them in terms of being labelled up, and I'm not 100% sure where they go. So before I put them, I think I'll get the headlights done, making sure that those work and stuff first. So with that in mind, I'm going to put these to the side. Okay, and we're going to call that an end to it. I've put it all back on, and yeah, I hope that was slightly better than the absolute meal I made of the heater and the blower. Anyway, so we'll move on to something else next.